When you talk specifically about people who are trying to pursue self-improvement, or people who are trying to overcome anxiety, or people who are trying to control more of the world around them, equally as important as understanding the difference between perception and perspective is understanding the reality, or what we call the anatomy of fear, and where fear actually comes from. Because fear is not what most of us think it is. We think it's some kind of uncontrollable response that just happens in our subconscious. In reality, fear is a mental process. It's a process that starts with some sort of external input, and that external input then goes through a very predictable scientific chemical response in our brain, where it is then translated into some kind of fear response. So, as an example, I'm sure you've had a moment where you've been startled by something that you saw. You thought you saw a rat in the corner, or you thought you saw a snake on the ground. And in an instant, your heart rate shot up. You started to sweat. You become very afraid of this one thing, until you look at it closer and you realize it's just a dirty pair of socks in the corner, not a rat. Or it's just a stick on the ground with a certain shadow, not a snake. That process that happened in your brain, that went from immediate panic until just a few seconds later, this moment of clarity, that's a chemical predictable response in the human brain. And you can actually learn to manage your fear and manage your anxiety better when you understand that process and how it works in your brain, because you can practice the process of slowing down the chemical reaction. So I know that's a whole lot of terminology in a very short period of time, Doug, but when you ask that question, you got two simultaneous answers in my brain.